Hello, and thanks for joining me on this episode of Simply Saturday. Today, in our Fast and Easy card, I'm actually going to be showing you more than one card, so hang in here with me. I'll tell you what sparked my inspiration. And for these cards, what that was some of the designer paper that I feel like has a larger print or a more challenging print. So often in a pack of DSP, I will have my favorites, like you probably do, and things that just immediately I know exactly what to do with. And sometimes there's papers that maybe are a little bit more challenging. Now, this first paper that I'm using is actually from a packet of paper that is still available, and it is called Perennial Lavender. So there's a bunch of different prints in here, and I'm using a piece from that. Now, interestingly enough, I was going to start with a card base out of Blackberry Bliss, and I am nearly out of Blackberry Bliss cardstock. I only have a few pieces that are literally scrap size, not enough for a card base. So in looking at all of the cards that I'm going to show you today, I wanted to go a different direction and not go with the greenish blue in here, which would be Pretty Peacock, because I'm using Pretty Peacock on a different card. So I looked through my cardstock and look at this. Petunia Pop looks really good with this paper, even though it's not technically one of the colors listed that will coordinate with this paper. So there's a fun challenge for you. Go ahead and use your Petunia Pop with your Perennial Lavender paper. All right, now what I wanted to do was cut my designer series paper into a frame and use that as the focus of the card. So this is what I'm going to do on the first one. I grabbed a die, and this is from Perennial Postage. Now, the stamp set is no longer available, but the dies are. So I grabbed some dies, 2 of them, from Perennial Postage, and that's what I'm going to use to create the first card. So I'm going to step over to my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, and I'm going to use this frame, and I'm going to cut a center out of my designer series paper, and then we will come back and keep going. You know what? While I'm over there, I'm going to use this tiny one and cut out a piece of basic white. So I'm going to do that. And stick with me. Here's my little note. So if you're just tuning in, you know where in the world I am, since you're not going to see any activity here for a second. All right, so let me show you what I've done, and then I'm going to cut the second piece. So I put this I put this frame shape onto the center of my designer series paper, and then I just die cut that out. So it left an opening in my designer series paper. Do you see that? Okay, now I'm going to go get the white piece. All right, for that, all I did was take a scrap and this really small little kind of frame die and cut this piece out like that. Now that's interesting because I haven't used this die very much from that die set. And this week already, I've used it 2 or 3 times in card making. So that just goes to show you something can kind of be a sleeper, and then all of a sudden it gets incorporated into your crafting and you keep using it over and over. I also apologize, we've got a little bit of a glare today. If you know me, you know that I typically do my recording early in the morning, and it has gotten to be afternoon time today. So I've got a little bit more glare from my window and my overhead lights. You can see the reflection here because it was too dark in my studio. I needed to add extra lights. So that's just an explanation about that. There's nothing I'm going to do to change that. Okay, so back to our card base. Here is that piece that I have now cut, and I'm going to just go ahead and stick that on. Let's see, I'm grabbing my multi-purpose glue, and I'm going to run a thin line all over that and stick it down to my card base. All right, this is really fun so far. I did not pre-make one of these. It's just all in my head. So we're just crafting, card creating right off the top of my head, but I just had the idea of these frames. I need to straighten this out a little bit. There we go. All right, so there is the card front. This is the piece we cut out, which actually could be used for something, so I'm not going to be so quick to toss it. And I did also toy with the idea of just flipping it and still using it right here, which I think looks really good. So there's a whole nother idea for you. I'm not going to finish my card with that though. Okay, so I'm just going to take my little white piece here. I'm going to find a sentiment stamp that fits on it. And so I'm going to first look at Simply Said and see what's going to fit on there. I think I'm just going to go with, thank you would be a good option, hello or yay. Let's do something different. I'll use yay. All right, now I will reach for that Blackberry Bliss color. I'll use it with my ink. All right, so we're going to put the yay on here. And as I'm planning ahead quickly in my mind, I'm going to put the words a little bit to the left, and I'm going to use some embellishments to fill up the right side of this, like so. All right, I'm going to pop this up with a couple of dimensionals. I've got the regular or full-size ones here, so 2 will work nicely. All right, so I'm going to have to go and cross over to the other side of my stamp studio to grab some embellishments that's going to go here. But watch, I'm just going to stick this right in the middle. So I'm kind of looking above, below, and to the right and the left to see how that looks. I'm going to grab some embellishments and some trim. So hold on. I knew immediately that the leftover sequins that I have from Celebration would look great. And I also grabbed the purple fine shimmer gems because I knew that those would work. So I'm going to go with the purple fine shimmer gems. And just put a couple of those on here. I'm going to use the small ones because we are working with a small space. Okay, it's sliding around but not lifting up. All right, I'm probably going to use 2 here. Maybe I will use a large one, a small one and a large one. And then I'm going to reach for some trim because I need something up here to help give this some weight, to help anchor it. And so looking through my ribbon, I can see I've got a couple of options. This is the one that is calling out to me. That is very pretty. This would also be, I think that one's even better for now. Okay, so I'm gonna go, this is Fresh Freesia. I'm sure this is retired. This would have come out when Fresh Freesia was a new color. Actually, Fresh Freesia made its debut as an in color, and then later in life became one of our core colors. So I'm going to take my Fresh Freesia ribbon. Of course, you've got lots of different colors here that you could choose something you have, or white always works. And I'm going to make a bow today. Now, my nails looked really plain and kind of ugly earlier today, and I slapped on this pink polish, which is a really pretty color. And then when I was getting ready to do this video for you, I put on a second coat, and I can see that I didn't give it enough time to dry. Oh, the struggles. So I've already got some little dings, and such is life, right? So probably tonight, when I've had it for the day and I am sitting in front of a show or a movie, I will redo my nails. All right, we're gonna stick our bow on here. Let's trim it, trim the tails and get it off of its bolt here. All right, and then I'm gonna place this right here, just helping to fill up the space and give it some weight. All right, a glue dot is the perfect answer for this application. So I'm going to take my ribbon and press the center of it, like the knot part, into my glue dot, picking up the glue dot. So now I've got the dot here, and I'm just gonna add it right here to the front of my card. All right, we would need something on the inside, so this is going to go here. I have another piece of that same designer series paper, a different print from the same pack, and I will take my paper trimmer and I'm going to trim this down. I want either a 1/4 or a 1/2 inch strip. We're going to start with a 1/2 inch and then decide from there. This right now is a 1 inch strip. So essentially I'm gonna slice it in half vertically. And this side, well, they both have a little bit of the purple, so it doesn't matter which piece I pick. And then I'm going to want to go on that inside white panel, which I know is 4 inches by 5 1/4. So I'm gonna go ahead and trim this down to 5 1/4 inches. So it's a 1/2 inch by 5 1/4. We're probably gonna need this on the next card, so I'm just gonna set it out of the way, but keep it within reach. All right, now I'm going to put my adhesive on this strip, and this is going to be a little bit of decoration for the inside of the card. Now I could go right up to the left edge if I wanted, but I'm gonna leave a little white space there. I like how that looks. It kind of makes the strip of paper pop. And then if my strip is a teeny bit long, which it is a hair, I'll just trim that off at this point. I mean a hair. All right, this is gonna go on the inside, and with yay on the front and a blank on the inside, no words on the inside, you could completely make this card for whatever occasion you want. It could be yay, it's your birthday, yay, congrats for doing something wonderful, yay, happy anniversary. I mean, you could just make this for any occasion, even just yay, thinking of you. You're my friend, I think you're great. All right, there we go. There's the inside, and that's our first card. Let's make another one with the same concept. All right, so I'm gonna set this one aside. We're not gonna use yay on the next one, so we can put that stamp away. And let me tell you what we'll use on this next one. We might need the glue dots. We probably don't need our Fresh Freesia ribbon. Okay, so on this next card, I'm going to start with a pretty peacock base, which we talked about on that other paper because that would have looked pretty with that paper, but I was saving it for this card. And the paper that I've selected for this one is actually a paper that is no longer available. The first one was, this one is not, but you might have it in your stash. This, when it was available, is called Delightful Floral. So I've got my piece and I'm going to use the die to cut this into a frame. So this time I'm using dies from Nested Essentials. The first time was Perennial Postage, and this time Nested Essentials. I'm going to use the largest of the rounded rectangles and the smallest. So I'm going to step over to my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, and I'm going to go ahead and cut the center of this out, leaving me a frame of Designer Series paper. I've already cut the smallest one out of the white, so that's ready for us, okay? So I'm just going to do this one, and I'll be right back. All right, so as I was preparing to cut this out, I did tape it into place so it wouldn't slide because I wanted to make sure that this stayed as centered as I could. So I just have a little bit of low tack artist tape on here to hold it all together and keep my die from sliding around. So I'll carefully remove that. Once again, this piece is super usable for something. And so I'm going to set that aside with that other one. Look, I'm going to have a whole collection of these cute little pieces cut out. All right, this now is ready to go onto my card front. Okay, kind of in the same fashion as I did on the first card. And then I am going to take a peek at that piece that I just cut out before we set it aside for good. All right, I do need to center this because with that frame shape cut in it, it's really going to show if it's not centered. My top and bottom border, the pretty peacock that's showing, is a larger border than my side ones. Do you see that? Okay. When I started with this piece, I basically just grabbed a scrap that was in my packet of paper. Here's my little sleeve. I get these paper holders on Amazon. There's a link to those down below this video. So I just pulled out this scrap and decided it was close enough for a card front and started to use it. So otherwise, if you wanted to cut it specifically, you could leave a little bit here so that you had the same border around. I think it looks fine. I'm not going to worry about it. Okay, so that piece that I cut out from the front, once again, that would be very attractive placed right back in here. And I'm almost thinking that I'm going to do it. I wasn't going to at first. I was just going to put the white, but this is fun. Let's do it. It's such a subtle B-side. This was the front, obviously the piece I wanted to use. And when you see the back side, it's so subtle that I think we can use it. It's not competing with this print at all. So let's do it. We just kind of turned my inspiration into a second idea, and we're going with it. Okay, so I'm just dropping that in like a puzzle piece. And it's kind of nice because it has that stitching all the way around it, which is a beautiful little feature of those Nested Essentials dies, is they don't only cut out the shapes, but they have then that little stitching that goes all the way around it. Love it. Okay, so here's our white piece. We're going to put our sentiment on here. We can either put it on straight or we can put it at an angle. There are so many options. All right, let's pick a word. I'm going to go back to the same stamp set, Simply Said, and this time I'm going to use the hello. I could also use the thanks. What am I going to use on the third one? Maybe the third one I'll do hello. Let's save hello and let's use Thanks on this one. Yep, that's what I'm going to do. All right, we're going to need an ink color. My card base is Pretty Peacock. The other colors that are in this paper include Bubble Bath, Berry Burst, Pretty Peacock. I think I'm going to grab Berry Burst. It's so fun that the products coordinate because, again, all I was doing was looking at the colors that are used in the paper and then choosing one of them to use as my ink color. And I have no fear or worry that it's not going to coordinate because they are designed to coordinate nicely. All right, here's Berry Burst. I am going to do a quick practice stamp on this one because as I was inking it up, I wasn't sure. Yep, it looks nice. Okay. I wasn't sure how wet or dry this ink pad was. All right, so right in the middle of this white piece, I'm going to stamp Thanks. I love that font. And we're going to put this on here. I think I will just go everything centered. And on this one, I'll put it flat. You could definitely do dimensionals on this piece if you wanted to. And I am eyeballing, but trying very hard to center this white piece now inside of that green piece. And that light green, in case you're interested, is actually Parakeet Party, which is not a current color. But in case you were curious what color is on that B side of the paper, it's Parakeet Party. Cute. Oh my goodness. Okay, this time let's use those Celebration sequins. They were called purple, but as you can see, there were several shades all the way up to almost a white. And I think I want this one that's sort of pink. Yep, that's exactly what I want. All right, I'm going to use 3 of these. Oh, this little one is a separate piece. Perfect. All right, I'll use 3 of these and I'm just going to kind of scatter them around the words this time. So 1 here and 2 and 3 are going to go down here. On this one, we will not add any ribbon, but I'm kind of dying to add some ribbon or twine. We'll get through the last card, and if I decide to come back to this one and add, we'll decide at that point when we see how long we have gone. All right, for the inside of this one, let's add a strip of paper because that's kind of what we're doing. And so I've got that packet of paper. I'm going to look for a scrap, which I've got several choices. The back sides were very subtle, like plain color, almost like a wash. I really like that print. I'm going to see if I have a larger piece of that we can use on the inside. Okay. And I'm also getting a, hold on, because the camera might jiggle. I'm getting a low battery signal from my camera, from my phone, and I'm going to deal with that. So hold on. Ah. Okay. We're going to have all kinds of challenges today, aren't we? And it also has started raining outside. Okay, let's finish this one up. And I'm going to take that print that I found that I really liked and grab my trimmer. This time I'm going to put the strip going across the bottom of my inside panel. So I need a strip that is 5 1/4 inches long. And I'm still going to stick with that 1/2 inch. I think it gives me enough print that I can see how pretty it is, but without it taking up a lot of space. So I'm using a 1/2 inch by 5 1/4 inch piece. And that's going to go right along the bottom here. I like it. All right, now this will be interesting since the battery on my phone is really low. I'm going to try to get through our third card before I run out. If I don't, I will have to edit this video and stick the rest of it in it. Oh my goodness. Okay, I've got it a hair long, which is not a problem. I'd rather have it too long than too short. I'm just going to trim that up and go ahead and attach this to the inside of the card. Then we will dash along to the third one and probably not go back to that second one and add ribbon or twine, just for the sake of time. Okay, there's the second one. Again, working with the idea that the designer series paper should be a frame. So we've got our first two, and let's move on to the third one. This time I'm starting with a garden green card base and some paper that also is currently available, and it's called To Market. I have chosen two dies that are out of a set called Stitched Rectangles. This hopefully you have in your collection, or you can use something similar because these are not available right now. And I'm going to go ahead, here's my small piece, and I'm going to go ahead and use this one to cut out my large piece. So here I go to the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. Okay, I'm back with that piece cut out now. You can see I have the die on there, and it's going to pop the center out. And this is going to go right on the front of the card base. And I'm going to take a look at the piece that I cut out and look at the back side, because that has been really interesting today. And you saw on the second one, kind of on the fly, that I ended up using it on the card. All right, thankfully I'm using my multi-purpose because I'm having to slide this around to get it straight. Just because it's a little bit thin and flimsy. There we go, there we go, there we go. All right. All right, so the back side of this, let's see what it looks like. Let's see what the surprise is. Ta-da! That too would be super cute popped into there. Oh my goodness. Okay, it's really hard for me to decide because that was not the intention. The intention was to just do the white piece like this or like this. That's kind of fun. I'm going to let you tell me in the comments what I should have done. I'm going to not use it, even though I'm kind of dying to do it. So let's stamp some words onto here, and it will be fun for me to go back and read your comments and see if your vote would have been to insert that piece. All right, I am going to use, will this fit? It'll barely fit. I'm going to use Thinking of You on this one. It will fill it, it'll really fill it up. Okay, and then we've got a lot of color options here. I think against the green with the other colors that are going on, let's do the same color. So let's do Garden Green for my ink choice. And I'm going to try to get this centered onto this white piece. Like so. Let's pop this one up, and then we will make a quick decision on how to do the embellishments. Oh my goodness, this has been such a fun little journey, taking an idea and running with it and actually changing midstream. Okay, I'm trying to think while I'm sticking this on what kind of embellishments or trim I want to add. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to lower this instead of centering it, and I'm going to look for a piece of ribbon, and we're going to do a bow on this card as well. I'm hoping I have some Blackberry Bliss ribbon. Let's see what I have here in my collection. This might be Blackberry Bliss. It actually is something that I kind of had left over from whenever it came out. It's getting low. So let's do a bow. Now, peach pie is another color that is represented in this paper. You've got garden green, Blackberry Bliss, peach pie. Let's see what else. Let me make a correction. It looks like peach pie, but it's actually pumpkin pie. So pumpkin pie, pecan pie, garden green, and Blackberry Bliss. I think that lighter orange that's on this paper could completely be peach pie. This paper, well, I was going to say the paper may have come out before we even had the color of peach pie. There we have our Blackberry Bliss bow. And I like that it's a little bit thicker because, again, we need to add some weight to the card. Give it some grounding. Grabbing those glue dots, which I thought that we would be using again correctly. I thought correctly. All right, I've got my glue dot there. Let's add the bow here. And let's finish it with an inside panel. I've got my white piece ready to go. I can look through those papers and find either something matching or something coordinating. So this time I think I'll match it. So I'm going to use the same paper print, and I'm going to cut a strip that is a 1/2 inch by 5 1/4. Half inch by 5 1/4. And I'll use that on the inside. A lot of times on the inside of my card, I will do something to dress it up. Either a stamped image or a piece of designer series paper like we did today. Just so the inside isn't plain. You put so much effort sometimes into the front of the card that it seems a shame to have it be so plain on the inside. I won't do any stamping on this. It leaves plenty of space for a message to be written. And as I've been moving quickly here today, I buried that first card. So I'm gonna have to dig that back out so I can show you all 3 of the cards that we did with this common theme. So here was number 3. Let's see here. I've got a whole pile of stuff next to me as I was shoving it off to the side. All right, we have card number 1, card number 2, and card number 3. How much fun this was creating a frame of designer series paper for all different looks. Hey, thanks so much for sticking with me today. I have a lot of information for you in the drop-down menu below this video. If you've never subscribed, I invite you to do that, and you can follow me and all the fun things that we do here on my channel. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time, happy stamping.